gonna do a little bit of spirited driving because you guys have requested that I do that with the cars. Transmission's so snappy. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 BMW 430i Convertible. But first and foremost, I do want to mention the layout of today's video. So first off, we're going to do a walk around like normal, and then for the driving portion, we're going to take it up to the top of one of my favorite canyons, and so that portion will be worth watching just based on the views alone. Trust me, just if you just want to watch the driving portion, just like skip ahead because it'll be worth it. But anyways, let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 24 around town and then 33 on the highway, with power outputs being 255 horsepower and then 295 pound-feet of torque. So that's 7 more horsepower and then 37 more pound-feet of torque compared to the last iteration of the 430i. Let's go to the front end of the 430i. First off, I love this blue paint color. You guys can see here, I mean, there's not a ton of sunlight today, but just the metallic flake looks amazing. Now, we've got these full LED lights with the LED accent lights. Notice that it's not like a full circle like what it used to be with the older BMWs. Still looks great. And then I actually like this kind of accent here off to the side that's all black, and you've got more lighting integrated into there. And then notice how if you kind of like draw a line, it goes through into the bottom portion of the grille. And speaking of grill, let's talk about the new grill with the BMW. Now, this has been super controversial because of how large it is. Here's what I'd have to say. In pictures, it doesn't necessarily look great, but in person, the proportions, everything actually look pretty good. Now, I still do prefer the previous generation of front grille with the BMW, but I don't think this is as bad looking as what people say it is. And then also notice we do have a camera right there and then the BMW logo. But yeah, that's kind of my general opinion on the front grille. Not as good looking as the last one, but it's not as bad as what people are saying. And well, that's the front end. Now, coming around the front, we've got two 25mm tires wrapped around 19-inch wheels. And then if we head over to the back, we've got two 55mm tires again wrapped around 19-inch wheels. And then you guys will probably notice that you've got the M colors there on the brake calipers. And we do have color matched brake calipers with this car, which I think look absolutely fantastic. And now let's get into some of the tech. This 430 has the adaptive suspension and the M Sport differential, so it does handle amazingly well, and you guys will see that in the driving portion of today's video. But the other thing, obviously, since it is a 4 Series, it is a 2-door, and I think this car actually looks really good as a 2-door. And even from the side angle, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of convertibles, but this actually does look pretty nice as a convertible from the side, also being a 2-door. Pop here into the trunk area, and well, let's not pretend this is not a very large trunk, especially for the size of car, and that's just because of the soft top. So if you want more storage space, then don't get the soft top version of the 4 Series. Notice we got a little tool bag there, which is pretty cool, but yeah, again, not tons of storage space. And so yeah, let's finish things up in the rear. First off, I love these taillights. The LEDs just look super sharp, and then I love how they have kind of like the white with the darker accenting at the top. Just looks really good. We've got our traditional BMW logo right there, and then also we have parking sensors down below. Now, that venting is fake, but I like it. It makes the car look a little bit more muscular. You guys can formulate your own opinion on that. And then you've got the 2 exhaust tips here with the diffuser on the bottom. And again, overall, I feel like it's pretty good looking from the back end. Now here's the door panel in the front. Notice we've got the blue stitching that goes all throughout and then is down here and then is on that portion as well. And then we do have the memory seats, all of our window controls right here, and then got this for the door latch, which I just like how the latch actually looks. It does come with the Harman Kardon sound system. Sounds absolutely fantastic. Been listening to it for the last couple of days. We've got our M plaque right there because this has the M package. And then coming here to the front seats, don't worry, we'll go over the back seats in a little bit. Notice that you can see that the headrest is a little bit weird because you're like, okay, normal blue stitching, but then you're like, what is this? This is what's called a wind scarf, so it actually blows heat onto your neck. So if you have the top down and it's cold outside, you can get heat on your neck so that you don't get too cold. And then notice with the rest of the seats, the bolstering's really nice, tons of blue stitching all throughout on the seats. They are power adjustable. You guys can see that whole setup right there. And then here are the pedals in that area, and then we've got all the light controls just over here as well. And then here are the paddles on the back of the steering wheel. And well, there's one more look before we throw the top down. Now I just want to show you guys what this looks like with the top down first. So we just have to press the button here. It'll roll down the windows automatically for you, and then it'll do the whole mechanism. So this is what you're going to see as a driver. And then you guys can also see how long this actually takes. It's actually pretty quick in terms of the whole top down mechanism. Getting it down. Look at that. And then it'll give you a little thing on the screen saying that it's complete. So here's what the car looks like with the top down. You guys probably notice the car keeps unlocking and then locking. That's because with the key, if you walk up to it, it'll unlock it, and then if you walk away from it, it'll automatically lock it. So pretty cool system. But yeah, overall, I feel like this actually looks pretty good with the top down, kind of like your basic convertible type design. You guys can, it literally, like, it's like, oh, the key's here. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. But yeah, that's the top down. Now, another cool thing is with the seat belt. So you guys will notice that the seat belt is right here in this area. But if I, well, I've got to grab the key fob because they're better right there. If I close the door, okay, and then we start up the car, it feeds you the seat belt. Then if we shut off the car, you guys can see the seat belt's there. Open the door, goes back into its place. I'm sure you guys are wondering how to get into the back seats and what the space is like in the back seats. Well, I have found the most efficient way to get into the back seats. First off, you got to have the top down like this. Like I said, we've got the top down, and what you do is you just leave the door closed because okay, anyways, in all reality, the back seating area looks great, but it's pretty much reserved for kids or extra storage space. So I've got the driver's seat all the way forward, which obviously wouldn't work. The passenger seat, however, I have where you'd actually have it, so you can see that legroom is pretty much non-existent. So again, kids, people without legs, all of that works pretty much in the back seating area. And now let's go over the stuff in the front. Now for the top back up, pretty simple. Just pull it like that, and it'll do the whole procedure all over again. Again, it happens really quick, which is pretty cool to see. Boom. And then notice that will go down, and then, wait for it, it'll give you the little thing there, and then also to roll up the windows. Now here is the steering wheel in the 430. You guys can see really nice leather, and it's pretty girthy all around, and so it definitely gives you kind of like a nice feel. Those of you that use steering wheel covers, like this pretty much has like the width of most steering wheels with the steering wheel cover. Anyways, paddles on the back. You've got nice stitching around the airbag cover with leather all around it, so it definitely makes it feel more premium. You've got the heated steering wheel button right down there, and then you've got like this for the phone controls, all that normal stuff, and then your volume controls, everything, and then cruise control is just over here. And then we've got the little stock there for the turn signal, and then we've got the stock for the windshield wipers, and that's all for the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster. It's pretty cool that you've got the navigation map there in the center, and it actually does show you exactly where you are, but obviously I don't want you guys to know where I live, so I have that cut out of the frame. But anyways, the digital gauge cluster overall just looks really nice and premium. Now aside from that, there's some different drive modes. We've got our sport mode, which we can go into. We have our comfort mode as well. We've got our Eco Pro adaptive on top of that. And if you guys are wondering, it doesn't really change anything with the gauge cluster, but it does change how the car actually drives. If you're wondering, the drive modes pop on this part of the gauge cluster, which again, I couldn't show because it has my address right next to it. But anyways, that's where they show up, is right there. Now here's the center infotainment system in the 430. First off, the quality on this infotainment system is absolutely fantastic. It just looks really good from a resolution standpoint. Response time on it is also really good. There's a bunch of stuff you can customize. So first off, I love how the car is color matched. Definitely cool attention to detail. I've got a bunch of like ambient lighting, for example, you can control here. So all we have to do is we go to the interior lighting tab, then we can change that. Notice I have it set to the blue right now because it matches the rest of the car. But yeah, overall, easy to use with what you normally get. And then this also does come with wireless Apple CarPlay, which is really easy to use. As you can see, not very popular today. Only one unread text message. Just kidding. I make sure I read everything. I don't like ever let them fill up like some people. But yeah, system works great, super seamless, and the fact that it's wireless is really cool. Now aside from that, let's go over the camera system part of it. So first off, if we pop it into reverse, you guys will see that we've got the backup camera that'll pop up. Notice that we've got the warnings for all of the parking sensors. And then we do have a few different camera views that you can go through. So notice that we've got that camera image thing. You can kind of customize it. But what we can do is we can actually see this through several different viewpoints. So there's another camera button on this as well. I can press that button. I'll show you guys where that button is a little bit later, but notice that it gives us the different viewpoints that we can see out of the car. And then notice here on the screen, we can also press that and it'll give us a 3D depiction of the car. It shows us how close we are to my truck. And yeah, overall makes parking this car really easy. So down below we've got the dual zone climate controls here. We do have heated seats for the front, and we've got all of our analog radio controls. We've got this little tray thing that kind of, well, not a tray, but you guys get what I mean. It's a covering. Some cup holders right here with the key fob, which I didn't really show you guys the key fob fully earlier, but BMW's regular key fob. Wireless phone charger right in front of it. And then here's the shifter for that 8-speed automatic. Notice we got our stability control. That's for the camera system, the parking sensors, the auto stop start. And this is to turn the car on or off. And then all of our drive modes right here, the parking brake. And then you guys probably look at this and you're like, what is this for? This is that wind scarf that I was telling you about, or heat scarf, whatever you want to call it. I think it says like wind scarf on the window sticker. We'll see in a second. But yeah, this is what blows the hot air out from the headrest. And then analog controls the infotainment system, because you don't have to use the touchscreen. You can use this dial to basically go through everything. And notice that that trim is all over this area. Got the center console here, which definitely nice with that. And then we've got more nice trim here at the top. And then you guys again can see the blue ambient lighting. Regular glove box, all lined with felts. And then, I mean, we kind of already went over the top, but yeah, you've got the soft top. Really nice with the insulation from a noise perspective. Rear view mirror, that's all for the top. So here is our window sticker for the 430i Convertible. You guys can see the base MSRP before any options are added. Definitely $550 well spent on the blue paint. I absolutely love it. But you guys can see all of the packages this particular car has added to it. So feel free to freeze the frame if you want. There's a total MSRP, $67,220. And then we already went over the fuel economy earlier, but there is that as well. And then you guys can see with the standard features, it goes over that. And then also the warranty information as well. So you got the 4-year, 50,000 mile warranty on it. And then you do get some maintenance coverage with this as well, but the maintenance coverage is not transferable. So if you're not the original owner, then it doesn't transfer. And that's kind of what that goes over right there. Let's take her out and go on this beautiful drive now. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here on the 430. You guys can see visibility over the hood and then the heads-up display. Hopefully you can see that through the camera. Now it shows you like the speed limit, miles per hour you're going, all that kind of stuff. And then you can pull up a secondary menu with it where you can go through like the radio, for example. And again, hopefully you guys can see that. So pretty cool technology they have there with the heads-up display. There's your visibility through both the mirrors. They do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's the rest of the rear. And let's set off. We are in the sport mode and the manual mode. We're at about 8,000 feet elevation, if you guys are wondering, somewhere around there. But we're gonna do a little bit of spirited driving because you guys have requested that I do that with the cars. Transmission's so snappy. Actually sounds pretty good for being a little four-banger to be, four-banger to be honest. A little bit boggled right now, but yeah, this thing's actually doing really well. Something that I've noticed here about the 430 is it seems like this platform could definitely, I mean, obviously it does have variants with more power, but it seems like it could really handle so much more power. Like the chassis just constantly feels overwhelmed. It really, really does with the 430. That's something that I've noticed, is it just, like, you punch it and, I mean, this engine's pretty good, but I just feel like this car could handle so much more power than what it has. And so you just kind of get that feeling as you're driving it, is you're like, yeah, the power's good, but if this thing had another 100, 200 horsepower, it feels like it could still handle that. Now, I do want to talk about some stuff that doesn't really relate to this particular situation. Just like me driving this around, I've driven this for about 100 miles at this point. Some things I want to point out is, first off, this car is so quiet with the top up. Like, it basically feels like a regular car with the top up. It doesn't have the convertible rattling whatsoever. The car doesn't creak or anything like that, and it's super quiet. I've driven it on the highway. I'd probably put about half the mileage that I have on this car on the highway, and it is such a good highway cruiser. It's very quiet, very smooth. So from that perspective, it's been great. And then aside from that, gas mileage, it gets pretty good gas mileage until you get into it, and then it just, like, it goes through gas so quick, but I mean, that's pretty much every single car. Aside from that, like I said, this adaptive suspension does a really good job. Like, it keeps the car very nice and planted, but then at the same time, it's really smooth. Like, you guys can see around these corners, it just does a really good job with keeping it just planted down. And yeah, you really wouldn't know that this was a convertible by just driving it. Like, this feels just as rigid, and it feels like it handles just as well as a regular car. And so yeah, I'm very impressed with what BMW's done with this. Like I said, my only complaint, but I mean, it's not really a huge complaint because obviously they offer more powerful variants on the 4 Series, is just this chassis feels so underwhelmed with this amount of power. It just, you can tell that this could handle so much more than what it currently has. And this will be kind of our top up driving, and then once I get to the top here, then we'll have some fun top down driving so you guys can experience that. But yeah, so far this car's a blast. So we're doing some top down action, and I apologize in advance if there's a ton of wind noise. I do have the windows rolled up, but they can only do so much. This car with the top down completely transforms. So like I said, with the top up, it feels just like a regular car. There's no wind noise. It's super comfortable, super smooth. But the second you take the top down, you hear a little bit more from the engine and the exhaust. And again, it doesn't sound that bad. It actually sounds pretty good for a little 4-banger. Aside from that though, obviously wind blowing through my hair feels nice, and it's such a nice experience. This car definitely just does great with the top down, but you still get that same rigid feel with the car, even with the top down, obviously. And overall, it's just like all the good stuff this car has with the top up, it just gets even better with the top down. Definitely a fun convertible to drive around, I will say that, especially in a mountain road like this. Like, hopefully you guys are enjoying the views that we get through here. And we'll kind of slow things down through here a little bit because there might be some hikers, and then again we'll kind of get into some more spirited driving again. But yeah, I'm super impressed with this 4 Series. I'll be completely honest, I was not excited for this car to come in as a press car. As this car was, as I saw this car on the list, I was like, oh wow, I'm getting a little 2-liter BMW convertible. I don't like convertibles. I don't like small engines, right? And so I'm just like, oh, this is not gonna be fun. But my perception on this car has completely changed driving it through some of these back roads, right? Like, it just, the handling dynamics on this are fantastic. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I love driving with the top down. It's just, it feels so cool to have the wind all around you, to hear everything that's happening. And yeah, it's such a good experience. So this will be kind of like the last little portion here with our spirited driving. Yeah, you can just tell this platform can handle so much more power than this car has. But again, this 2 liters no slouch. Like, it's enough acceleration that you can still have fun with it. It's just not necessarily gonna shove you in your seat crazy fast or anything like that. It's not that type of engine. It's kind of like, you feel like you have adequate power, right? That's basically the best way for me to put things in. Since we're stuck behind these people, we'll just sum things up here with the 4 Series. So overall, again, exterior styling wise, I feel like it's a pretty good looking car. I definitely prefer the regular version, not the convertible, but I mean, that's just personal preference. I'm not a convertible guy. Now, as a convertible, this car does great. It is really good in terms of insulating you from the outside world when you have the top up, and it just does a really good job. It's smooth, it's quiet, and then when you have the top down, you can have this cool open air experience, and it's definitely a ton of fun. And so overall, like, they did a really good job. And I think the best way for me to sum things up with this car is, I hate convertibles. That is me. I am the guy that just hates convertibles, and I am enjoying driving this. That's how good this 4 Series convertible is. And I mean, I don't know what else you could say. Like, this is a really good car. It just needs more power, in my opinion. That's all. Now let's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2021 BMW 430i Convertible. And yeah, as always, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think. I'll see all of you in the next video.